Was like the end of the world, end of my world. I thought I had just failed. I felt like a failure. For my daughter's naming ceremony, it was very low key. It was
Mm,
as if there was nothing to
mm,
rejoice. Do you understand? It was as if there was nothing to be happy about. Some people might have even thought
mm.
that maybe it was my fault. In my trying to go into the community, people see my daughter and I, they don't move close to us, especially pregnant women. I'm sorry to say this here, because they feel they can, it's contagious. If like they have anything to do with us, they can have a child with like that.
Our next guest is Mrs. Tolah from Nigeria. She is the founder of Moyinoluwa Rainbow Foundation, one of the very few centers in Lagos, Nigeria that actually cares for children with Down syndrome. I'm very excited today to have this conversation with her, to hear some of her challenges and her journey specifically from this woman who had to quit her job to now running one of the high-end and reputable Down syndrome foundations in Nigeria. So I was doing my research and I read something about you where you said like in 2011 when you gave birth, 5 days after you gave birth, that was when you got the diagnosis that your daughter had Down syndrome. How was that like for you, like getting that diagnosis?
Oh my God! Looking back right now, I just it's like a flash in the pan. I can say, my God, that it was like the end of the world, end of my world. I thought I had just
Mm,
failed. I felt like a failure. I felt like I had failed my daughter. I wasn't even thinking about myself, but then I was devastated. It was a news that I never expected. Do you understand what I mean?
that
Like,
must have been so difficult. That must have been so
yeah. I
difficult
mean,
because now I do want to now move ahead because you also have shared that your daughter also had a heart condition.
yeah.
Did When did you now become aware of the other, health complication that she
Oh,
was going
wow.
through?
So you see, a lot of health problems come with Down syndrome, and although I'd known about Down syndrome before having my daughter, but I did not think that I would begin to see all the problems. I just wanted to carry her in my arms, and then 5 days after the news came that it was confirmed that she has Down syndrome, I really broke down, and then the next thing that we had to deal with was not she not cry, her not crying for food. She wouldn't cry for food. I had to wake her intermittently. Then she was very weak, but all of this come with the features or symptoms of having Down syndrome, like low hypotonia, which is like a low muscle tone. So I didn't really worry much
Mm.
until the doctors now tried to educate me that, oh, I needed to check, like do like an echocardiogram for her to check if she has a heart condition. So when the diagnosis of the heart condition came, she was 3 months old. It was one of the tests that we had been told to do when we were discharged from the hospital. It was one of the urgent tests the doctors wanted us to do because children with Down syndrome are susceptible to heart diseases.
Now that you became aware of your child's diagnosis in terms of a heart condition, and I'm really looking at it in the context of Nigeria,
Mhm,
considering that we know, the healthcare system is not the best. These are not the kind of conditions that are easily treatable or,
mhm,
well known in our hospitals.
mhm.
How were you able to navigate this? Where did you go for the surgery?
Um, it was a very, very tough call. I can say that, yeah, because I remember, apart from being shocked, I know that I lived in denial for, well, maybe a few weeks because I just called my friend and told her, hey, look, they said she's got Down syndrome, and she was like, no, she doesn't. I said, yes, she does. And even though it
Mm.
was really hard for me to cope, but I kind of stopped living in denial. I started looking for how to support my daughter, and knowing fully well that the result had come that she has a heart condition. We started Googling, making our own research on which hospitals to go to, blah, blah, blah. We found one hospital in India, and then we asked for quotation, and then they sent us the quotation for the heart surgery. Oh my God. Just taking me back to all of this. It was a lot of money.
What a journey. What a journey.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
mean, going through this, especially not in any other African country. Nigeria.
Nigeria.
You know how Nigerians
Of course.
sometimes, you know the way
Hmm.
we behave, ignorance, and we are so vocal
Oh,
about our
tell
thoughts,
me about
about
it.
our reactions. And listen, and now this is why I want to ask you now, being a mother and having a daughter with Down syndrome, how are you able to, deal with some of the reactions or stigma that comes from the general public that you live in? How do you navigate that?
I wasn't taking her out. We were not going out. So I wasn't coming out of my room. We're not coming out. We're just in the room. Like, I didn't remember I'd not eaten. I mean, then I remember I would just be in my room. I would never come out of that room. At least, maybe I'll come out for breakfast like 1 p.m. ish, and then I took another bold step because then at 3 months already, she was still very, very tender. Even at 7 months, 8 months, she was so tender, very tiny with a very small head because people with Down syndrome are, some of them will have very small heads. That's called microcephaly. And what I tried to do was I was running two businesses by the side, and I had not resigned from my job. And so I started taking that to my outfit. And people will look at her, like stare at her, and people will ask questions like, oh, why is her head small? Oh, what's wrong with her? Oh, why is her face like this, oh, that. That was because I had started taking out. Even for my daughter's naming ceremony, it was very low key. It was
Mm,
as if there was nothing to
mm,
rejoice. Do you understand? It was as if there was nothing to be happy about, nothing to rejoice, about, something like that. It was just very quiet.
yeah,
Even when I took her to
yeah,
church, I
yeah.
just couldn't show her like I would have because she was really very tiny and definitely looking at you. You want to ask, is she? Because she was looking sickly. You get what I mean? And
Yeah.
oh my God. So bit by bit, we started.
And yeah, and Nigerian religion, and if you take her
Oh
to
my
church, what are
God. Don't get me
the
started, please.
there's
Don't get me
start,
started.
please.
Let me
Please
start.
start. Please
Okay.
start.
You know, um, it was even when people were asking a lot of questions, it was as if they thought I didn't have faith. Some people might have even thought
Mm,
that maybe it was my fault because someone had said, "Oh, that
mm,
what medication did I take while I was pregnant?" There was even a time I started checking my heart. Oh my God, this is not my fault. But I was even feeling guilty again. You know, because people will
yeah.
make you feel you've done something wrong. How
Mm,
did you get this child? Where did you get this child from? And then the religion part, that one even really, really did my head in the sense that for a long time, even when I relocated back to Lagos for a long time. I was in Port Harcourt then. For a long time, people still felt I needed to have faith. My faith was not strong enough. Even in my trying to go into the community, people see my daughter and they don't move close to us, especially pregnant women. I'm sorry to say this here, because they feel it's contagious. If like they have anything to do with us, they can have a child with like that, something like that. Yeah.
What's your education? I like right to walk. I, four. I want a cushion. I have the right to walk. I have the blood. I have the right to walk. Yeah, I need the boy. Blood me.
Is this what prompted you to open Moyinoluwa Rainbow Foundation? Is it because of some of these experiences
Yes,
that you're like, let me
absolutely.
now be the voice for others?
Yes, yes, absolutely. It was because I started seeing more children like my daughter in my community, and I'm like, where the heck
Mm.
have they been all those years? You know,
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it, I'd never seen. When I thought about it again, okay, maybe because I didn't want to see them. They've always been around. They've
Yes.
always been around.
Yes.
And sometimes you choose to believe
Yes.
what you want to believe. You choose to see what you want to
Yes.
see, what you want to see. And as a people,
Absolutely.
as a community, we choose, you know, to reject what we want to reject. I saw a child in church one day and I saw his butt and his hands dropping, legs dropping, and he was about 5 year old. It was about a 5 year old then. And then I knew
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the symptoms of having Down syndrome, but I had moved closer and then I had confirmed that he has Down syndrome. And I said hello to the mom. He said, "Oh, hello," and looked down. And I was saying hello to her son already. She looked down and said, "Oh," like trying to hide her son. I said, "Don't worry. My daughter has Down syndrome as well. Nice to meet your son." And I got home that day and I was pondering over this. Oh my God, where are all those children? So my daughter is not alone. I was so excited. All of a sudden, in my room, it was quiet. I was folding my clothes, sitting on my bed. It was just me. I just heard that voice. "You are never alone. You know you're not alone. Now you can see you're not alone. I need your voice out there." I thought it was, I was talking to myself like, oh my God. I just found myself crying. I cried like a baby. I cried so much that it was clear that, oh my God, I cried so much that day. And I said, okay, this is just me being too emotional. And then that voice never left me, never stopped. I took a break, went to the UK. That was 2014. The voice still followed me. It wasn't really clear, but at a point I could not fight it. I didn't know how to run a foundation. I didn't know how to run an organization. I'd never done one, though I'd been in a leadership position, working in the bank for 11 years. Oh my God, I just started from knowing nothing. Started, reading, studying,
and now
researching.
from knowing nothing, and now it is like one of the few centers in Lagos, Nigeria that takes care of Down syndrome children. Like, you're doing an incredible job. For people who do not know what you do at your foundation, can you just share a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, so we have like physical therapy, like I said, occupational therapy, language and communication development, also teaching them math skills, literacy skills, reading skills, because according to research, people with Down syndrome have the tendency to be good readers, for their disability.
This is what more rainbow offers to parents out there and to caregivers out there
We offer
who are looking
training.
for early
Training as
intervention.
well. Then, of course, we have the teenagers. We prepare them for the real world. We do vocational. We help them to acquire vocational skills as well, and like baking, hair making, shoemaking. We do a lot of hands-on stuff, over there. It's really an amazing place to be. I'm really, really grateful for, for that, because it's just from having a child now you're able to like reach out to so many people so that they're not feeling alone on the journey.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Mrs. Tolah. I am so grateful for you. And I am so grateful for you listening to the voice that told you it's time. It's time. You're not alone. Thank you, because the work you're doing is so impactful, and a lot of people would definitely benefit from it. Thank you so much for coming to the show to share your story.
Thank you.
Thank you.